Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Pastor Dowell here. The video I did earlier is getting a lot of traction. I think I put a defibrillator on people's mind and made them start thinking there a little bit. One thing I'm sure of in this life is that people can't find what they're looking for because they cannot define what it is. They can't. And one of the biggest mistakes, and I'm going to have to say this tongue in cheek, that people make is, let's say, if they want to try to find out what the truth is. All right? If you want to find out what the truth is, you don't go to your church, your previous church, that you're accustomed to going to in your Christian churches, because they're going to tell you the things that you've always heard, and you know it's a bunch of fairy tales and make-believe. What you need to do is go find one of them bold preachers that everybody seems to have trouble and problem with, ones that irritate people, and yet and still when they speak, you cannot condemn their words because their lifestyle backs up what they're saying. You see, in this life right here, we get the outcome that we want by living the truth. Just a minute ago, I was sitting here at the desk, and I seen a link over there with a guy by the name of Kevin Samuels. Now, he passed on a few years ago, and of course, I listened to the video for a minute to see what he was saying, because you had a single mother that's 27 years old, who has a child, 9 years old. She was in a long-term relationship. Apparently, it didn't work. I'm not defining what the relationship is because I was kind of in and out because I'm over there doing my little studies and stuff. And one of the things is she lives in Boston, Massachusetts, and she wants to have a family of 4 living in Boston. And of course, the one thing that Mr. Samuels gave her a reality check and says, well, how much does it, how much is going to cost you, and how much of the financial responsibility do you want to bear and be responsible for living in Boston with a family of 4? And how much will it cost? And of course, she says, man, living in Boston with a family of 4, going through life, man, you talking about well over $100,000. Well over. And with her being responsible with at least what she said for 50% of the income, which that makes sense because I don't think the way that these people do. Remind you, this is all online. Some of the answers that he was given, I did not agree with, and the reason why I don't agree with is because I live after a total different reality. I'm of the mindset, and I've proved it over the last 3 decades, that my mindset is good. And it's spot on. And again, I get it from the scriptures. You see, to live in Boston, that means you have to live out the way that the world tells you to live. You have to work out the way that the world tells you to work. And you have to live in a place that is just simply not feasible to pay that type of income to live in that particular geographical location. So what do? My answer is you make changes. Instead of living in Boston, move south. If that ain't cheap enough for you, move to the Midwest. And if you work long enough, like I try to admonish you to in your 20s and 30s, because you got a lot of people that's out here that's in their 50s, and they don't have anything to show for what they've done in their whole entire life. And it's sad. It really, truly is. And I'm talking about living out there in the world the way that y'all live. You see, if you follow the blueprint that Pastor Dowell has laid out, because I know a lot of people can't interpret the scriptures right, you would have invested in yourself. You would have put your hand to the plow, you would have worked, and instead of working to pay, because you have to understand, you're probably working in this life right here, you probably have 40 good years to work. 40. And that's provided if you stay healthy. If you become morbidly obese and slow and lethargic, and you procrastinate and I mean, you're lazy, and you could take a whole lot of those years off. And welfare is just simply not always going to be there. And Social Security definitely is not always going to be there, because the government been dipping in the kitty of Social Security. There's no way that Social Security should be bankrupt. The majority of people that retire today, they live maybe 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5 before they even die. You have very, very few people that retire and lives another 20 or 30 years that they've been paying off into Social Security. But I don't want to digress. Let me stay the course here for a second, okay? I'm using some autonomy here, all right? So, if you're to save some money for like 5 years, you lived in, let's say you didn't get no inheritance from nobody, but you you live a very simple life, and I do mean extremely simple. I don't suggest that many people do what I did, because people today don't have that type of intestinal fortitude and that grit to be able to do it. He said, "What are you talking about, Pastor Dowell?" Well, I did. I worked for quite a few years and saved a lot of money. I did. Not only that, I lived in what you people out there will call deplorable conditions. That's why I can sit here and speak this today. And I literally worked my hands to the bones. I worked hard. I lived in a trailer that I paid maybe $200 for, and it was a dilapidated trailer. Myself and my family. I had myself and a son and a daughter, and my wife. My Ish, y'all call wife. And we lived like that for quite a few years. I'm just giving you a summary. There was no running water. The only running water is when we ran to the creek and got a bucket and then brought it into the house. I found a tub on the side of the road. I bored a hole in the bottom of the trailer, and I just set the tub in there, make sure it wouldn't move. And my wife, or my Isha, who commonly is called wife, she had a place to take a bath. We warmed it up on a wood stove. And mind you, I've had a lot of people, man, they used to mock me. I mean, man, we living like the Amish. What the world? And it was fun. They were laughing. I was sitting there looking at them like this. The reason why I was just looking at them, because I knew the day was coming that their laughter is going to be turned into mourning. And whatever condition that they thought I was in, which was a mourning state, it was going to be turned to joy, because I'm following the principles of the book. But it took sacrifice and commitment. Most of you, mind you, have never lived, even in the United States of America, in a place that did not have running water. We had to go either to the outhouse, this is in the 2000s, or go to a shower house we had to walk to in order to use the restroom, bathroom, latrine, the head, whatever you want to call it, and also to take a shower from a well. We did not have it in our home. I remember Mother Carol making full course meals on a hot plate. It had like one little eye or something like that. And I remember her doing that. Because we only had like 20 amps of electricity running throughout the whole trailer. And there was no air conditioning. We only used box fans for like 9 or 10 years. See, I already done lost everybody. But you know what? I've been living in this particular home, which I built with my own hands right here. It used to be the fellowship hall and the gym. And then I converted it into a home. And I've been living here for about, I don't know, maybe 15 years, something like that. Now I'm in a position in place. And mind you, I'm building another home at the top of the hill to accommodate my family. Been working on it 4 years. And guess who's doing all the work on it still? I am. Every single home that I am going to live in and have lived in since I have been the head of my own house, when I left my father's house, we have never, ever, after conversion, had to ever pay a rent or mortgage. We started off very humble, and now the Most High is rewarding because of the faith and the fidelity and the work that I have put in. And I was still, when I finish it, and we're just about done and move into it, I will still owe no man nothing. And it's a fairly large home. It really is. 2 stories. And myself and the brother, we're doing all pretty much 90% of the work on that home. That's right. You got it. Why? Because I didn't want to fall into the trap living like Americans. See, if you fall into the trap trusting this system and you think that this system, the way that they have things set up, is the only way you can do things, then there's no need in complaining of the outcome, because you've done nothing to affect change. You just accepted what they told you and sold to you and they gave to you. But you did not try in any way, shape, fashion, or form to search out a matter to see if it's so. You did not even make an attempt to do what I has actually said, because for some people it's just entirely too hard. I find it hard to believe. This home right here that I've been living in, maybe the last 15 years, I think something like that. I got to ask Mother Carol. This is I think it's a 2,800 square foot home. Easy, maybe 3,000. And I pretty much laid almost every single block and framed this roof up. I had a couple of brothers to help me, but pretty much done the work myself. Had some other brothers do other things and stuff who had skills, which many hand makes light work, especially if you're in a fellowship and you have a congregation, and there's people that are willing to help you because they see it. And some people have followed my example, and they've been blessed because of it, because we don't have to live after the manner and the picture or the frame that this world told us to. And we can enjoy more. We don't have to get out there and make $100,000 a year in order to live a nice, decent life and still have something left for the children. Most people concerned about inheritance, and I don't know why they're concerned about inheritance, because they didn't get any inheritance and they've done nothing to prepare their children for any inheritance. All of a sudden it comes with concern because somebody's talking about it, not that they've done anything about it. Listen, talk is cheap. And a lot of people out there got the gift of gab, but they ain't doing nothing. Again, you want to know what the reflection of a man is? Peer into his past life. It'll tell you everything you need to know. And the principle of the word in the scripture says it's by their fruits you shall know them. See, we're not owed anything in this world at all. But you can't continue to keep doing the way that this system tells you to do, because you're going to go out and you're going to end up giving up probably, 60% of your income just to keep a roof over your head? Wow. Well, Pastor Dowell, didn't you have to pay for what you did? Yeah, again, I was able to live in double the amount of the home that I normally would have without paying the experts, because I did it myself and the brothers did it. Does that make any sense? Am I making any sense? I mean, anyway, I know I am. I'm able to hunt, fish, raise cattle, raise our own meat birds, layers, chickens, greenhouse, gardens. And I'm proud to say that at least 75% of our meals, sometime greater, the majority of all of it, sometime 90%, sometime 100%, all comes from this land. And approaching 60 years old. Now, hold on. Let me don't jump that gun. I'll be 59 here in a few weeks. And as a 59-year-old man, I can still run quite a few miles. I can, let me see, last I can bench 385. I can do 315 pounds between 12 and 15 reps. I still have plenty of stamina, vigor, strength, health. And I just thank the Father for it. I thank Jesus for this set apart life. But I did it because I didn't want to do it the way that the world says, I searched the scriptures to see what it has to say, and it's vowed well for me. They even come up with a way, using their own system, to set precedents here by law in Tennessee to reduce greatly and significantly our land tax bill. By their fruits you shall know them. But getting back to this Kevin Samuels and this woman right here, no, it's asinine to sit up there and to say it's going to cost you, it's going to cost you well over $100,000 a year just to live in order to make it in Boston, Massachusetts. And I would never move to Massachusetts anyway because it's not a state, it's not a constitutional state you can carry in. It's a communist state. Somebody say, well, you got all this armament on display. No, it's just where it's just hanging at. I got stuff hanging all over the walls in this little office right here. Probably in the next place that I have an office, you're probably not going to see any of this. It's not that I'm putting it on display or for show. Unlike some of you envious people out there and you jealous people, I don't know what it is. But, I actually I actually go out and shoot. I'm training a whole lot less now because I done moved into another chapter of my life to where I've got to be more beneficial in this area, whereas I was before extremely beneficial in another. I hope I said something to stimulate thought again. If y'all learned anything from this, please hit the like and subscribe button and consider looking down below, clicking on that link, and becoming a patron of Pastor Dowell. Come over and become a patron and get in that community over there and then get answers on exactly how to do things. I wish y'all well. I hope it says something to stimulate thought. That is my prayer. King coming.